This is the story of a thief who did not let the world's top investigation agency rest for 6 years. Not one or two, but this theft was worth 29,000 crores. $5 billion. How did the thief get just one phone call? How did he hide so much money in a small container of Cheetos? And most of all, after the recovery of the money, who actually had this money? Why did he turn his face away from this money? On September 13, 2019, a boy named Jimmy Zhong called 911. This was the phone call of his life that was going to trap him in a big trouble. Jimmy Zhong used to live in a small city called Athens in the state of Georgia. He called the police to report a robbery in his house, and when the police officers asked, he said that $4 have been stolen from his house. Hearing such a large amount, the police officers was a little shocked. Jimmy had a great security system installed in his house, and he also had court footage of the thief entering the house, which showed his face. Jimmy Zhong was a graduate of Georgia University, and he was known as the party boy among his friends. He used to blow $5 in each party, that is, for 25 crore rupees. If he went to a bar, he would buy free drinks for everyone present there. Most of his friends would only support him in the greed for money and livelihood. To watch the match, Jimmy once gathered his friends and took them all to Los Angeles in a private jet. So the point is that Jimmy had so much money at a very young age that maybe he wasn't able to handle it himself. When the police failed to find out about the theft in his house, he hired a private detective named Martinelli. Because Jimmy's lifestyle and from the friend circle, it seemed that this theft was done by a friend of his. Because of this, Martinelli looked at Jimmy's private life to study his case well, such as his social media accounts and his bank account transactions. Jimmy used to tell everyone that he is a Bitcoin trader and crypto investor. In the last few years, everyone believed in him after seeing the rising prices of Bitcoin. Martinelli said that the boy who was entering his house in the video footage knew everything, that Jimmy was not at home and when he had to act, which shows that he's definitely a close friend of Jimmy. It was not the first time that the Athens police had made a connection with Jimmy. Even a few years ago, he had been caught in a cocaine case, and since then, Jimmy's behavior with police officers was very good. Often, the Athens police used the court camera at his home to investigate another case. But this time, because of the 911 call, Jimmy was highlighted in the eyes of the police. Meanwhile, the regional cybercrime unit also found out that $4 have been stolen from Jimmy Zhong's house, and he calls himself a Bitcoin trader. They suspected that Jimmy had Bitcoin, but where did so much money come from? This regional cybercrime unit has been investigating the case of the Silk Road crypto heist for the past 7 years, but for so long, they had not received a single hint. Silk Road was an online exchange where all the wrong things were done, from weapons to drugs. All illegal things were traded here, and his transaction was done in Bitcoins. In 2012, this exchange was hacked, and someone stole 51,680 Bitcoins of all traders. But because it was an illegal the next year, the owner of Silk Road was caught, and the FBI closed the website and took all the Bitcoins in their possession. 70,000 Bitcoins were recovered from the owner of Silk Road, but 51,680 Bitcoins were still missing, which was stolen by a hacker. The FBI thought that maybe the owner of Silk Road has transferred it to another account, and now he is lying to us. Transactions of different Bitcoin accounts are completely transparent. Anyone can see them, but only the owner of the account is not known. The regional cybercrime unit suspected that Jimmy Zhong has nothing to do with the Bitcoin stolen from the Silk Road account. For that, it was necessary to first find out what is Jimmy's Bitcoin address.
For this work, the Athens police and the regional cybercrime unit together made a plan to meet Jimmy, because the police were already investigating his $400,000 case. So this meeting was completely normal for Jimmy. 3 plainclothes officers entered Jimmy's house with a body cam. They made Jimmy believe that he had come to the investigation of the $400,000. They tried to ask Jimmy what his source of income was. On this, Jimmy visited his room, where 2 Bitcoin miners were kept. In the team of the regional cybercrime unit was also a blockchain expert. He immediately realized that 2 to 4 Bitcoin mining machines cannot make as much money as Jimmy spends. Meanwhile, after talking, an officer accessed Jimmy's laptop and copied his Bitcoin address. This was one of Jimmy's many Bitcoin addresses. but it was enough to connect with Silk Road crypto heist.
The arrow of the regional cybercrime unit was on the right target. This Bitcoin address certainly did not have a special amount, but its transaction history link was matching the Silk Road account several years ago. It was proven that Jimmy definitely had a connection to the Silk Road heist. Now the officers were looking for those 51,000 Bitcoins that they thought were with Jimmy. He once again contacted Jimmy and fixed a meeting with him, but this time he took a search warrant against him. When Jimmy found out, his face turned pale. Officers began to search his house and checked one tile at a time to see if Jimmy had made any secret storage box. Finally, they saw a container of Cheetos with a small towel inside. Seeing the piece of the towel in the snack container, he was suspicious, so he took it out. Below that towel, he saw a small computer chip. This was Bitcoin's hard wallet, which still had 51,000 Bitcoins, and in 2021, their value was $3.5 billion. Jimmy Zhong was now badly trapped. In order to catch his $400,000 thief, he lost 51,000 Bitcoins. Jimmy told the officers that to fulfill his habit of drugs, he used to go to the Silk Road exchange and buy drugs from there. In 2012, one day when he was withdrawing his Bitcoins from there, he saw a loophole in the website. Jimmy also had good knowledge of blockchain, so he used that loophole and started withdrawing the Bitcoins of the rest of the website's users. 0. The owner of Silk Road knew that he could not complain to the police, so he sent a private message to Jimmy and asked him what loophole he had found on the website. Jimmy told him the loophole of the website, in return for which he forgave the stolen Bitcoins. Athens Police, FBI and Regional Cybercrime Unit had solved the case many years ago. In 2023, Jimmy Zhong was sentenced to 1 year and 1 day in a wire fraud case. This is considered to be the biggest Bitcoin heist in US history. If Jimmy hadn't called 911 that day, maybe he would be roaming freely with his Bitcoin today. But this phone call brought Jimmy down from the sky in one fell swoop. The FBI issued a notice to the real owners of the 51,000 Bitcoin seized, that those who in the 2012 Silk Road crypto heist, they should come forward and claim their Bitcoins. But the surprising thing was that not a single person came forward, because coming forward means that he had an account on Silk Road, and the only meaning of the Silk Road account is that he was involved in some criminal activity. I hope you will like and share this video of Zem TV. Thank you very much for your loving comments. See you in the next wonderful video.